We just got another video from the Old School RuneScape team related to sailing. They are just cranking out these videos, and each one has a little bit more information compared to the last. So I'm going to break down this video. I originally was going to do like sort of a reaction video, but you know, in the spirit of the channel, I decided instead to watch the video about 3 times and try to pick out everything I can and see how this will impact us on the day of release and how sailing is going to feel as a whole. So let's break down exactly what we saw in this video. The first thing I want to cover is some of the training methods that they talked about in the videos and the surprises around them. First one is the crab expedition. So when the new map was loaded into the game, I was looking all over the water for a hunter icon and I couldn't find one. So I had no idea where these expeditions would take place. Well, it turns out that this is actually done on land, and this was a bit of a surprise for me. I thought for sure that the crab expeditions would be something you do on water, because I was thinking of those, you know, Deadliest Catch shows where you go out to these cold oceans and you catch a bunch of crabs with these cages. Well, that's not going to be the case here. You're doing it on land. So this was actually a little bit of a disappointment for me, given that, like, you know, it's a new skill. I expected to be interacting with my boat here rather than doing something that's a little bit more traditional hunter style. Now, you might still be able to take those crabs, put them in your cargo hold, stuff like that, but I would have preferred to do this out on water personally. I'm a little bit surprised that we're doing it this way. The other one that they mentioned was lantern fishing, and they kept showing this guy kind of fishing off the coast here. So this seems like another example where this is going to be more like traditional fishing, and the only fishing you're going to really do on your boat is going to be deep sea trawling. The last thing I really got excited for was when they talked about charting. Now, charting is the one-time XP, exploring the ocean activity. Not an active training method by all means, but definitely something you would do, you know, as you're moving around the oceans. And what was very surprising is the fact that when you complete or chart enough of a certain area, you can potentially get buffs for that area, like drinks that improve your crew, or rapids on the oceans that will make you move faster. That could be great for something like port tasks that will effectively make those higher XP per hour. So this actually makes charting a little bit more important than I originally thought it was going to be. I'm going to want to look at the captain's log and see what sort of unlocks I can get and if it's worth going and charting those areas more than I thought I originally was going to. Moving away from training methods, they also talk about what parts of the ocean will be completely inaccessible. I didn't expect any area to be inaccessible. I definitely expected areas to have no content, like especially the corners of the map. There's no icons, no islands, but it turns out that some areas you just can't get to. And the entire eastern side of the map, this will be the case. That is a huge area, and then up to north of the wilderness as well. So about the right third of the world map, there's no content there. You can't enter it at all. When I tried to go there during the beta as well, there was like an invisible wall, and I suspect it'll be something like that that will block us. Then you have a little bit that's out to the west side near Varlamore that's outer limits. I suspect this is because they have this city here that they want to expand in the future, and it makes sense, you know, they weren't going to have it for launch, but eventually we'll get access to that. Then you combine the fact that, again, the corners don't really have much going on the west either. So really the main content we're getting for sailing is going to be the, you know, middle area around Port Sarim, all that, around Apatol. And then you have going south. Then you have west through the channel between Korend and the mainland. And of course the Fremennik area probably being the highest tier area. So overall, it's a smaller map than I thought, but at least those areas are going to have a good amount of content in them. Let's talk about a few hints or Easter eggs in the video as well. You have this gold ship with a gold cannon and a bank on it. I suspect that you'll be able to find this south of the Isle of Souls. There's a bank icon in the middle of the water. It's not on the land at all. And as far as I can tell, it's the only bank icon I could find that wasn't on land. So this is where I suspect you'll be able to find this boat and you'll be able to bank there, and maybe some other things we'll have to see. They also showed Cabin Boy Jenkins. Of course, Cabin Boy Jenkins is the one who perished during Dragon Slayer 1. Now, it looks like you can recruit him as a crew member from the Lady Lumbridge crash on Crandor, which I think is just so cool that we end up back on that spot. We'll have to see if we need like a Ghost Speak amulet originally or something like that. And hopefully he's a better sailor in the afterlife than he was when he was alive. They also showed off the Frost Dragons in this video, and we already knew, based on the Slayer information they gave us, that the Frost Dragons would be on Grimstone, the level 87 island that you can dock on. This is the highest tier island available on launch. When you go on the world map and you click into the dungeon for Grimstone, you could see that there's a furnace icon there. So it was pretty obvious that this meant that this is where you can craft the cannonballs at double the speed of normal, but it wasn't 100% confirmed. However, this video definitely gives you a clip of that furnace in the background and confirms that that is indeed the case. So this means that this island is going to be the highest tier island that will give you access to both frost dragons for probably the best chance at getting dragon sheets, and the furnace to double the speed of your creation for your cannonballs. There's also a fairy ring here as well, so this means that the frost dragons are going to be easily accessible through a fairy ring, and of course the furnace through a fairy ring as well. We also got to see all 3 boat sizes. We obviously knew about the first 2, but the third one I personally at least haven't seen yet. And looking at it here, I actually really love the size. I was worried about it being too big potentially, because the larger something gets, the more clunky it's gonna be, but this here looks like the perfect size for the largest boats. A couple interesting things here. Now, obviously we're gonna have more facilities here. I don't know, I can't really tell exactly how much. It looks like between 10 and 12, but something I found really interesting, the mid-tier boat, you only had one area for a salvaging hook or a trawling net. It looks like this boat has 2 areas, one on either side. So that means you could either have a salvaging hook and a trawling net on one boat, which is very nice, obviously, if you're doing both activities, or maybe you can have 2 of the same, like you see here, 2 salvaging hooks or 2 trawling nets. And I wonder what the implication of that is. Is it gonna be a case where you can maybe have, you know, you on one salvaging hook and a crew member on the other, and you're going to get more salvage, maybe more XP? Is that going to be the case for deep sea trawling as well, where you can get more fish that way? Or will one be kind of the max, and this is just a visual thing that they showed us in the video? We'll have to see on release, or if we get a confirmation of that. That's very exciting. It also looks like the max we're going to get is 2 cannons, which is of course the same as the last tier, which makes sense for me as well. Speaking of cannons, they talked about the combat system, how they want the sailing combat to feel very simple, like how it is OG RuneScape attacking a cow, and then the complexity comes later. Based on the beta, this pretty much was the case. It was just attacking something, and it's attacking you, and you eat occasionally. Now, when you get a crew member, the complexity does go up because you can move the boat while attacking. This allows you to get into better positions, allows you to be more efficient between NPCs. If you go too far, you start missing cannonballs. So there is that layer of complexity, and I do like that aspect of it. That being said, if it's simple all the way through, like the high tier NPCs do the exact same thing, there's something left to be desired with that. I'm hoping that the later NPCs, when you're getting higher leveled, will have a mechanic to them, something, right? Maybe you need to move your boat to dodge something like a wave attack or a lightning strike. If everything is just left click and wait, I think it's too simple in my opinion. I know we got a boss coming in 2026 out at sea that will definitely have that complexity, but I'm hoping on release that these level, 150 manatees or whatever have something going for them. Otherwise, in my opinion, I think this is going to be a very weak spot for sailing. We also got to see some new creatures. Obviously, we've already seen the griffin and the shellbane griffin, but we also got to see visually what Gull looks like, the pet from the griffin boss, and he is so adorable. If you're not going to leave a like on the video for me, leave one for Gull. He's a homie. But we also did learn that this is a morph, so it looks like if you're more interested in the look of the shellbane griffin boss as is, you likely can get a mini pet version of him and then decide what you like more between that and this cute adorable chicken. Other than that, we got some other creatures like wasps and stingrays, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot more that we haven't seen. I also really like the way the krakens look, by the way, and these krakens don't require a slayer level like the other ones do, so these you can do as soon as you're equipped to with your boat. And lastly, Alan Walker collaborated with the Old School RuneScape team, a true Old School RuneScape gamer, and we're going to have 3 songs made in collaboration with him. I'm excited. There's going to be over 18 new tracks added, and I can't wait to include them in future videos. That's everything I wanted to cover with this video. If there's anything I didn't mention, let me know in the comments below. Are you still excited for sailing? We are getting so close.